Hey guys, Connor Hibbs here. I just wanted to go and post a video of me doing a speed edit on the photo that I posted on my Instagram and Facebook today. So this is a photo that I edited probably back in like July, and I took a screen capture of it. I don't remember what I was intending on doing with it, but I figured that if I just sped it up and kind of do a quick voiceover just discussing exactly what it is that I do when I'm retouching a portrait, that might just be useful information to you. So I figured it does me no good to have it sit on my drive. The fact that I posted that photo today just made it timely for me to make the video now. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, feel free to comment, send me a message, whatever it may be. I'm happy to share any and all information that I have. Also, if you are interested, you should go and follow Grace. She's a fantastic model. Her Instagram is at HippieGG. So HippieGG. And really, she's an awesome person who made this photo great. I don't know why I never shared it in the first place, but I'm glad to have shared it with all you guys now. I hope you all are having a wonderful day, and take care. All right, so here we are. I'm just going through and setting everything. Usually I don't like my photos to look too much different than they do originally when I'm just doing my raw processing. This is all in Lightroom. I've kind of switched over to Capture One now, but I just do some basic contrast adjustments and then sharpen a little bit with a pretty heavy mask to make sure that I'm not doing anything that's going to bring out too much detail when I'm doing my cleanup. So you'll see here I'm going through in Photoshop. I just have my healing brush tool, and I'm just cleaning up a couple of stray hairs, as I saw fit. Like, I kind of liked that her hair was messy. There were just a couple areas where I felt like the hairs were maybe a little bit too much of a distraction for the rest of the image. So yeah, I think once I clean up the hairs here, I'm just going to go through, do the same thing. Any minor bumps or things that I'm noticing on her skin, I'm going through and just cleaning those up and taking those out as well. This usually is one of the more involved times of any kind of editing and retouching that I do, especially when I want to have something that's really portfolio worthy at the end, which I believe I took quite a bit of time with this. So I'm just making sure that any really pronounced stuff is cleaned up in this stage, not worrying too much about the color or brightness or darkness, because those things will all kind of be balanced out in dodging and burning and frequency separation. So you can see here, while I spend most of my time working on a face, it's definitely still important to make sure that if you have arms, legs, or any other kind of skin showing, that you at least pay a little bit of attention to them. It can look really weird if you do cleanup really heavily on a face and then somebody still has a bunch of marks on their arms and stuff. It looks all the more processed, where I want everything to look really natural and organic in the way that it appears. So as I said, this whole edit was something that I did probably back in June of last year, and just now have kind of gotten around to going back through and figuring something out to do with the footage, because otherwise it was just sitting on my computer. And I figured that posting the photo today was a good enough reason to maybe go through and do that. So right now I'm just going through, and I am mostly dodging up areas that just have a little bit too much contrast, a little too much shadow being cast by either a blemish or just the shape of the face, and really paying attention to the small structures of the face there. And then you can see I went through and I enhanced the shadows in a few other areas as well, like especially around the nose. The bright side of the nose can kind of be lost on the bright side of the cheek sometimes, just depending on the person. So I wanted to just define that border a little bit more by burning that down just a little bit. So now I went through and I did my frequency separation, and I am just going over with a very soft brush on really low flow and just brushing the skin tone to look a little bit more even. Sometimes you have different depths of capillaries in the face, so you'll get kind of a splotchiness on most faces. Just small things that I'm just trying to. I don't want to make it look entirely brushed. That's why I use such a low flow on a very soft brush. I just want to add a little bit of color tone in there. Now I'm covering up this little area that you can see her jumpsuit through. I didn't like, so I sampled an area of hair that I kind of cut out, dragged over there, masked off completely with a fully black mask, and then just very lightly painted in white until I covered up that area so it looked a little bit more natural. Now I'm starting to do a bit of hair accentuating, bringing out the color of the hair. Her hair was so vibrant already that I really wanted to emphasize that a lot more. So I just did a little bit of a pop of color, probably pushed it towards having some red and some yellow in it. I don't really remember. Now I'm going through and just drawing squiggles in the eyes. I want to bring out the color of the eyes a little bit more. So this is another just fully black layer of curves. And you see that I have it set to very bright green. And that's something that I do just so I can kind of see where I'm brushing stuff into. But I'm just going through now that I have the mask in place and kind of changing the color just a little bit, making the eyes pop a little bit more. I don't tend to do too much to the eyes, but in this instance, I think that because I wanted to really spend as much time as possible doing this, I wanted to make sure that I brought those eyes out. So you can see there, I just did a luminosity mask selection. That's something that I learned thanks to our friend Mr. Nick Page. But I was specifically looking for something that was going to bring out the midtones and highlights of the hair. So I did a luminosity mask in which I could just go in and dodge the brightest portion of the hair there. And now I'm looking for something that's maybe a bit brighter, change the selection a little bit more with the levels. And I'm just going through the different shades, different portions of the hair to kind of dodge and burn it and bring out the highlights and shadows in that a bit more. This is definitely not something that I do super frequently. I will do it if somebody has really unique hair color or if I just really want the highlights to pop. Sometimes for some of my more like traditional Hollywood styles, the highlight can really look good if you dodge that out a bit more. But you'll see here, I just kind of brush a color over the hair, and then in this instance, I used color dodge. So color dodge is something that can be a little bit unwieldy if you use bright colors. So if you actually want to brighten the color of a hair, I would pick something in the color range. So I'll like sample a color of the hair in an orange, and then make it really, really dark, close to black, paint it over the area, and then set it to color dodge, which will just make the hair glow like crazy. So now I'm doing another level of dodge and burn. With this, I'm looking more at just the general structure of the face instead of the fine details. So I'm looking at the overall image and how I might want to enhance the shadows across her clothes, across her face, and areas that I just want those shadows to be a little bit darker to make the highlights pop a bit more. Then I'm just going back over some of the other highlights that aren't quite as bright as I would like them to be and bringing those up a bit more. Now, this is another additional step that I don't necessarily always take, but I merged everything down with Command Option Shift E, so I'd have a single layer, and then I opened that up. I went to Silver Effects Pro. So once you have Silver Effects Pro installed, it would just be under your filters all the way down at the bottom. And the reason that I did that is to bring out the dodging and burning even more. Just in certain areas of the face that I wanted to enhance the contrast, and I didn't want to have to take the time to try and organically brush everything in. If you make a nice looking black and white image, you can set that to luminosity and then just mask in just the areas that you want to bring that contrast in a bit more, and that just helps to emphasize it even more. Now I'm just doing some generalized color toning over the entire image, something that I always do. It's usually something that I really like the color balance layer to be able to just select out the shadows, the highlights, the midtones, to get everything looking just perfectly. But you can see here, I'm playing with a few different options. I'm trying doing some things with color toning, a few options with just curves, but I usually set those to a color mode so it doesn't affect the contrast at all. And I have a tendency to really like stuff that has cool shadows and warm highlights. Then you can see I go back in, I sharpen a little bit more, and there I am going back and forth between the start and the finish. It's kind of a subtle difference, but I think in the end it really makes an image look all the better. Thanks guys for watching. I hope you guys found some use out of this and that you have a wonderful day. Take care guys.